Today's project is working on 1968 C10 in bright white. We're working on the box floor. I brought it over here to the lift. I've got it flipped upside down. This is handy. I know not everybody has this, but if and when you get to this point, if you ever do with your truck, this is where you need to be. Again, having up in air really helps a lot. You could build a wood platform or something, but as I do this, we'll point to why that's important. Like any 55-year-old truck, there's a lot of things been loaded in this box through the years, and there is no less than 100 dents in this, maybe more. So I've been using a block and dolly, a hammer, anyhow. Basically any dent, the most of your dents, if not all of them, are going to be towards the bottom, which we have facing up. So that's because of dropping stuff in the bed. So when you put the dolly underneath, it's just some kind of metal that's flat and has some mass to it. You put it underneath the dent. And what it does is instead of you hammering on the dent and the outside of the dent pushing out and creating a kind of a crater, this backs it. So when you hammer on that dent, it has nowhere to go but flat. That's the idea. Basically just find you a dent, which I've been working on this for a while, so not a lot left. Put it underneath the dent and then just tap on the dent. Yeah, I know that's loud. I normally have hearing protection on this right here. So that's what I've been doing. I've got most of it worked over, but from this point back, I've got really good. I'll always find one more, but that's not a big deal. We're going to put bed liner on it from the other side, so it's going to kind of mellow out any dents I missed. And underneath these crossbars, there's no way to dent those back. So we'll contend with that when? That's right, later when we get it flipped over. So from here back, I've got it all hammered out. But if you remember, we had some little pinholes in this, and it appears that somebody put, this is my best guess, probably a piece of plywood in this truck, thinking that that keeps everything off the deck. There's different arguments about things that work and don't work. I've used carpet before, which is going to hold moisture, but an outdoor carpet doesn't hold moisture like an indoor carpet. All those arguments, but I know if you put a piece of plywood in a bed of a truck, it will hold a lot of moisture and just continue to put moisture and rot your bed floor. So that's probably, in my opinion, one of the worst things you could do, other than having a bunch of mud in there. But nonetheless, what I've done on those little pinholes is I've taken a piece of sandpaper and I've roughed up this side. And then I went underneath, and because I've got this lift, I can see the light through those holes. And I just use blue tape. It's easier for me to see. But I just put masking tape over those holes. So when I apply a backer to this, because it's the bottom, it won't just drip through. I don't think it's that thin, but either way, I'm using JB Weld. You can use whatever two-part epoxy kind of fancy stuff you got. They make a putty. That's good stuff too, a little harder on the fingers. So that's where I'm at on this back part. The front part, I don't know how well you can see this, or I shouldn't have said that. It's the way we're standing back in front. This would be the back of the vehicle. This is a little more involved. Here at the back, this is where your tailgate goes on. Generally, everything I've seen, most of these have at least noticeable amount of rust. I would even say considerable amount of rust. There's several reasons, but it being at the back of the truck is one of the reasons. This one's in outstanding shape. I'm really shocked by how the floor has so many little pinholes in it, but this back isn't rotted out. Even on the bottom side, which would be the bottom of your floor, that's generally where you notice rust through. And it's because when you drive down a dirt road or whatever, salt, whatever it is, it slings dirt and water up into these pockets, like in here. You see how they're open? And these get full of dirt and they hold moisture, and that creates a lot faster rot. Even if you're not in the north, mud that's continually damp and wet in those areas will cause it to rot. This is one of those few things I'm going to say GM definitely missed on back in those days. This most certainly should have seam sealer in it, and that's what you see here, this gray. You could use caulk or whatever. It doesn't matter. Fill that with something, for crying out loud, Tub and tile, I'm not going to pick on you. Seam sealer costs about the same, so you're not saving any money. But seam seal it in. Now you're going to notice there's a bunch of rust here. It's because every time I bang on it, more rust comes out of these boxes where you can't get to it. I just keep blowing it off with the compressor, getting it out of here. So now that I've got that all seam sealed, this is now ready to start the next process, checking for holes, sanding it down, making sure this is all, hammered out and flattened down, which I know you guys aren't going to want to hear that. It's loud. It's very tedious. You get the idea with the old hammer dolly goes. The next big issue with this particular truck you might not be dealing with is this would be time to finish those, backing those holes up, tar coat this entire bottom so we have another layer of backing. It's going to make things quieter. It's going to deaden anything you drop into it. Excuse me. On this particular truck, Tom opted for the larger fuel tank, which is a great move. You're never going to regret it down the road. But it creates a tiny bit more work now. I think that one's 17. And I think they also offered like a 12, which you'll be filling up quite frequently. That's what I think I have in my green truck. It's not a nuisance, but larger tanks are just better. So what we run into on a larger tank, I actually should spin you around. This angle's a lot better. Let me do that. Looking at the box bottom, obviously, from the back to the front is what we're looking at. The frame goes right here. So if this was flipped over sitting on the truck, this would be your frame rail inside your tires on both sides. I've got them marked off, these two black lines here. You should use different color paint pens, but anyhow, that's where your support to this box bottom comes, the entire box for that matter. So what we have to do is cut out for that fuel tank, and it only runs between the frames. But you'll notice I've got this line drawn out past the frame. That's because, and I didn't bring anything to show you, but the fuel fill comes right in here, and then the vent tube comes right over here. It's quite a bit smaller, but this tubing here is about 2-inch, give or take, 1.75 inches. So we have to make room for that, as well as the tank that goes in the middle. So unfortunately, I have to cut this out past the frame rail. Yeah, I don't like it, but I've looked at it a million times. I've measured for, me and the tape measure were friends for quite some time. We spent half the day together, a couple hours. What I've determined is we have to cut this out past the frame. And I only did it on an angle. It looks more aesthetic, and it feels like that would support the weight better than having a right angle. What I'm going to do is cut this out. And then that piece of metal I take out, I'm going to cut it to fit. But it's going to drop down and be a double plate for the rest of the box. What I'm getting at is we're taking this amount of strength out of the box bottom. I don't think we're going to load engines or anything too heavy or 100 blocks in this or anything, but let's still do it and make it as structurally sound as we can. So I'm planning on taking this top cover once I cut it. And I'll have to cut it twice, as you see. I'll use this. It'll be somewhere, I don't know how to do it. This is about 1 inch. I'll measure it again. I think it's 1.16 inches. So this has to be cut at 1.16 inches here. And that little piece of metal taken out. And what we'll end up with is this cap will slide down inside of here, and we'll have twice the thickness down in here. Although it's shorter, we're doubling up the metal. And then some of you are going to say, well, you can't just not put it to the frame. Well, we're mounted to the frame just to the back a little more. I think this is 12 inches exactly, if I remember right. So you have a mount a foot away, and then 18 inches up there, give or take, that cross piece also sets on the frame. So we're back to about a 2-foot area. But being at the rear of the truck, you kind of want this sturdier. So my plan is, once I cut all this out, I believe I can slip a bolt, the original bolt, between these two tubes, and I just have to make a collar that goes to the frame, if that makes sense. And then I will still have my support in the same place as it used to be, and I can get my tubes in. I've also considered adding a strip, 1x1 square tubing, equal distances on this side. I think it runs like 10 inches. I might put a crossbar in here as well that mounts to the frame. So again, we don't have that much distance between our supports. If I add another brace here, this is generally where the box bed gets whooped out. It's got a crown to it here, but upside down it will be dipped. That's where a lot of weight goes. People throw things in, and GM didn't put a lot of support. So I would like to add a 1x1 in here that'll help bow that back out when I bolt everything together, give it a solid floor. That's my plans. We got to start getting cutting. Cut this off. I'm gonna put my headphones on, so just listen to the grinder for a minute. May even high speed it. You never know. Okay, as you can see, I had a little trouble with that. I didn't know that support tubing was actually welded to it. I just thought they set it in there. I've never done one of these. So if you're doing one, all you gotta do is break those two bottom welds. You didn't have to cut it up like I did, but I wanted that out anyway. I'm gonna use it hopefully around that bolt. Nonetheless, I have enough here to drop this down like we talked before. Certainly I have to still cut it to fit, but this top piece is gonna set right down in there. And then we'll cover this with some flat tubing. So you see what we're after here. That will give us the clearance we need for everything. This is our support bolt. I believe I can slip it back in when we're all done on the truck. This also helps me get in here to tar coat, but the rest of them I can't. So that's the piece we're using. You can see it's still quite solid. Lots of metal left. Let me clean that all up, and I'll try to get it set back in there, and then we'll weld it full weld. We're not gonna stitch it or anything like that. We want this welded in good, give it lots of strength. Again, I'm happy to see GM used a heavy metal on this, and that's good. I'm not good at guessing gauges, but it's substantial. It's decent. Once we double it up, I'm confident that'll be plenty. We might not have to do our added tubing, but I probably still will. I went through 2 grinding discs. There were some partly used ones, but it went fast. It just took a little bit of time. All right, I'm gonna clean this up, figure out what I'm gonna do, and then I'll come back.